All right, so this is going to be a quick, helpful tip when you're building workflows and you're testing things out, is how you can basically set test data. So simplest example real quick is, let's say that we are just, we want to simulate that data is flowing in. So you can either pin real data that you capture, like live data, or if you kind of know what the input's going to look like, you can set data. So we have our trigger, right? And what I can do is, in the top right, there's a little thing called edit output. And this is going to give us like this JSON of an output. So if I just saved this, that would say that what's coming over is two fields, name and code, and then we have a first item and our second item. And then we could basically build off other nodes in this flow, and we have data back here to play with, right? And if you want to change this, you can obviously change the schema of this structure. So let's say we just want to create one field which would be called like query. So all I would do is I would just edit this JSON to be called query, and then I could fill in like my name is Nate. And then I would save that, and now it's a field called query, and it says my name is Nate, and I'm then able to play with that data through the rest of the workflow. So an example of when this is actually pretty practical and helpful is, let me just real quick pull up something else. Let me duplicate this tab and just show you guys like what could be helpful, right? So let's say you're working with something like the Ultimate Assistant. I'm gonna have to open up Telegram as well so I can just do a quick demo of this. But anyways, so we're talking to the Ultimate Assistant, and what I'm gonna do is test workflow so it's listening. I'm gonna come in here and just say, get Michael Scott's contact info. So send this off. It should be hitting this agent. Okay, something failed. There we go. So it failed. What we can do is we'll come into this sub execution. So this button right here, we can go into the sub execution. And now what we can do is we can debug this workflow and basically just make sure things are working without having to go and send a Telegram message to the main agent. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at this error. So this is one of the runs that happened, right? And we can see that what came over was the query, get the contact information from Michael Scott. We can see what happened in here. It didn't get the right message. So I'm just going to quickly change this to define below. I'm going to drag in the query, and now it's looking at the right message. And I can hit test step, and we should see that this is now going to work. And so let's say, okay, it worked. That's great. It got Michael Scott's contact info. But now what we want to do is we want to try if we ask for someone else's contact info. So I can just come in here and basically change the query as if this is what the main agent sent over. So let me just say Nate Herkelman. I think that's in the contact database. Now we have a new query, which I can hit run above this agent, and it should be taking that new query and getting that contact information, which now we have Nate Herkelman's contact info. So that's just to show you guys the value in troubleshooting a sub workflow without having to go back into the main one and message it every time, waste these credits, do all this time spent, when you can just debug in this workflow itself. So in case you didn't know, you can set fields and stuff like that. That's how it works. If you're having trouble actually like creating that JSON that you want to come over, you can obviously work with something like ChatGPT or Claude, and it will help you create just like a JSON to paste into there. But that's going to be super helpful when you're just kind of testing out things and debugging. So hope that helps.